Antonio and Pablo Fornals.
I don't think there's ever a good time to play Tottenham because they've got a host of good players, really good team. We'll try and go into the game really positive. We'll try and show the form we're finding a little bit more now at the moment. So if we can do that, then we'll give them a good game.
It's finished. Leicester City 4, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Kane and Son fairly anonymous for the visitors, but the Foxes were excellent today.
I feel like Dan Juma, the new signing, Richarlison, has scored a Premier League goal this season.
Spurs actually started the game okay, but the defending, I can't get over the defending. It's Sunday League.
I think a lot of Spurs fans may be feeling the same way as Jamie O'Hara there of late, to be perfectly honest. Listen, they host West Ham United this weekend in the Premier League, and they're looking for something. West Ham United have had a little bit of a turnaround of late. After 5 straight defeats, it's now only 1 defeat in the last 5, a win and 2 draws in their last 2 games, but they've drawn against Newcastle away from home, which is no mean feat, and then drawn with Chelsea in their last Premier League game as well. So it's something for them to build on. Spurs, we mentioned their game in midweek against Borussia Dortmund, against AC Milan. There were bright sparks there, if you like, but the 4-1 defeat against Leicester last time out was really something that the Spurs fans were utterly dejected by, really. And of course, the context of Antonio Conte once again just taking some time off. Just watch your headphones there, Leanne. Yeah, thank you very much. It gives us a little bit of feedback there, so I'm just losing my hearing as you take those headphones off. Let's speak to a couple of fans from both Spurs and West Ham. Chris Cowlin, the Spurs Chat podcast host, and Dan Lawless, West Ham Fan TV host. Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, Hugh. Evening, Leanne. Hope you're doing well this evening.
You seem like you're quite happy there, so it's strange. Was that Dan, of the West Ham fan, or was that an actual happy Spurs fan?
Listen, I'm not. I sound happy. I sound up for it, but I'm not. I'm really. I've just come off doing a live show and just listening to Moyes' comments. You played some there, and I've had enough of him, to be honest. But I'm looking forward to this game. That's the only thing.
Whoa. Don't think you can turn it back around on the game. What do you mean you've had enough of David Moyes?
No, he's come out in his comments and basically essentially said, West Ham, we've always been a team that have been, had a few good seasons, few bad seasons, and that's essentially what we're delivering. So, we've got to, manage our expectations. We can't kid ourselves to think we can keep challenging up there. And I look at that and I think, mate, you've spent 180 million quid this season. You think that's what the owners want to hear? That, this is the same old West Ham. We didn't give up Upton Park and move to this stadium to have the same old West Ham. We're in a relegation battle and you're, I think, shirking responsibility. And I think that's an absolute cop-out. Honestly, I hated hearing those comments. It's so negative.
Dan, what do you think has been like the major catalyst as to why West Ham are exactly where they are, in 16th? Last year, it looked like they were going to win the Europa League. They were flying. In the Premier League as well, they were almost just missed out on the top 4. What do you think this is down to?
I think he's tried to change how we play. He's been vocal. Even Antonio come out and said it. We went trying to go from a counter-attacking team to a possession-based team. Signed a lot of players, new players, quality players, in my opinion, that Moyes doesn't seem to have much of an idea about. He talked about Paqueta, our record signing. Brought him in, compared him to Dimitri Payet. Said, hopefully, we was expecting 10 assists, 10 goals a season. He hopefully can create some chances. That's not Paqueta. That's not what he does. He wasn't doing it at Lyon, over there. Now he's finally figured out, let me play him as an 8 next to Rice deeper. And finally, we're getting something out of Paqueta. But you mean to tell me you spend, £50 million on a player and you completely just misprofile him? And that goes around to Scamacca as well. We're just lumping in crosses to the geezer and he loves the ball to his feet. So he's just signed players. I don't know whether he had any hand in these signings or what, but he doesn't know how to seem to get the best out of them. It's taking him time, and I think that's what it is.
Chris, let's move on to Spurs next. Dan's got, I guess, strong feelings about his manager at West Ham United at the moment. Your manager, not in the dugout, and we don't know when Antonio Conte will return as he continues to recover from that gallbladder surgery. Do you think that affects the side one way or the other?
Absolutely. Antonio Conte is a world-class manager. I want to see him backed, but it sadly looks like he's going to leave in the summer at the end of the season. I think that's almost certain, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a return of Mauricio Pochettino. But I think it's all about getting the best possible finish in the Premier League now, hopefully getting that fourth spot, playing Champions League football for the new manager coming in. But this season so far, we've had so many injury problems. Of course, now our captain's out. Rodrigo Bentancur has been absolutely fantastic in the centre of midfield. He is now out for the rest of the season. But yeah, there have been so many problems at Spurs, but putting a positive spin on it, it's not all bad. We're sitting 2 points away from the top four. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Champions League, which I'll be confident of getting through to when we play them return leg at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And of course, we face a side battling relegation. They're sitting 2 points away from the Championship. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see West Ham get relegated at the end of the season.
Well, you guys are going in. No, but Chris, you made a great point there, and I was thinking that, Tottenham are in fifth, and how realistically, what's the expectations of Tottenham? Because for me, I think Antonio Conte worked wonders getting them into the Champions League by being within the job for like about 6 months, So with the squad that you guys actually have, fifth spot right now isn't a bad place to be in. But I think the frustration is that you go and beat Manchester City and then go and lose to a team like Leicester at this moment in time.
And it's happened so many times before as well. And it happened last season. We beat Manchester City last season. We lost to Burnley. It's been a very, very frustrating week because over 90 minutes, the Manchester City game 2 weeks ago was the best performance this season, because we have been so poor in the first halves. But the realistic aim this season is to finish in a Champions League spot again and perhaps put a trophy in the cabinet, which we haven't won a trophy in 15 years, which is way, way overdue at the club. But, it's all about direction, club direction and progression. And progression is to finish in the top four again and put a trophy in the cabinet. And we cannot go from Pochettino to Jose Mourinho to Antonio Conte and not put a trophy in the cabinet. So for me, a trophy is absolutely key.
I find that interesting, to be honest, because the competition is so stiff. I wonder, look, the club has denied that a bid has gone in this week. But for a few moments there, we thought, Tottenham might be the next club to be sold. And look, we don't know if there's much truth in that denial. Maybe there is conversations ongoing at the moment. But Chris, when it was maybe a 20-minute period, but when you heard that news, was there excitement?
Didn't believe it. Didn't believe it one bit. I think Daniel Levy and the board, of course, the naming rights are still yet to be sold. I feel like there's so much more to be done at Spurs. And I don't feel that the board will sell up. I really don't. So I didn't believe the news.
Okay, all right, frank and honest. West Ham United, then, Dan. What are you feeling about your season from here? Look, I know you've had to say a few strong words about David Moyes there because that is your opinion. But for a lot of people, he's put a lot of credit in the bank. From here on out, being so close to the relegation zone at the moment, if you were to finish the season, say, where you are, would you want to see him leave the football club then? I guess the answer to that is yes. Are you predicting that he can then find something in this squad to carry you up the table? Do you at least hold on to that belief?
Yeah, because I do think the players are there, and I think there is signs of improvement. It's just a little bit too late. And to me, even if we do sort of push up the table and get, say, 11th or whatever, I'd still want him to go, look, I'm banking on that Conference League. Because if we win that Conference League, we've had a better season than Spurs. If they get their Champions League spot, they won't win a trophy. We've done what they haven't been able to do in 15 years and win a trophy. I would still, if we did that, and it's going to sound crazy, I would still want to part ways with Moyes. We're part on good terms, honestly, and say, do you know what, Moyes? 3 fantastic seasons. Hold your head high. Thank you. I just look at the long-term future of West Ham, and I just can't see him being the man to have the drive, the energy, and the ambition to really keep this going. So it sounds bad, but I can't see a position where I'm like, yeah, Moyes, stay. Hopefully he can end on good terms and say, well done, Moyes, but win that Conference League, and then, we can stick it to Spurs.
But Dan, I know it's easier said than done, but who realistically could go into West Ham at this moment in time? Who would you want?
Well, this is what I've been saying all season. There's 2 options. I either want elite top level. You try, don't ask, don't get. right? So if you can't get the Mancinis or the Poches or whatever, right? If you can't get those, then let's try and take a gamble on a young, hungry manager, a Company or a Carrick. Those are our options, because I'm tired of seeing these same names. I keep seeing Rafa Benitez. He was a great manager in his day. I'm just tired of seeing these same managers. Either go for the top, or let's go and get a young manager who's hungry, who's driven, who has new ideas, who understands the modern game. Those are my options.
Dan, you're fed up. Dan, they're not even going to make you happy. Even if they win at Tottenham this weekend, I don't think you're going to be happy by Monday morning. I don't know what's going to help you out, to be perfectly honest. Very quickly, Chris, your predictions for this weekend off the back of a 4-1 win. Can Tottenham win this weekend?
Of course they can. We've got to win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs win. Harry Kane to get both.
Okay, should say 4-1 defeat there against Leicester. My mistake. Very quickly then, Dan, can you go to Tottenham and win?
Yeah, of course. They got Fraser Forster in goal. I think they're keeping a clean sheet. Are they mad? Listen, on that note, do you know what? I'm saying 2-1 West Ham. I think we'll do it. And I will be happy. But I still want him out.
Okay, brilliant. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Chris
you.
Cowlin of the Spurs Chat podcast and Dan Lawless, West Ham Fan TV host. Thank you for joining us. Let's quickly rejoin our exclusive commentary